Hey everyone, hope you're doing well. Just been writing my mothers and we've just been talking about the 1975 and what happened then. And I had to remind her, because my memory was a bit more clear than hers, but I had to remind her that brothers and sisters at that time were giving up their jobs and going full-time pioneering. I had to remind her that Raymond France's uncle, Freddie France, gave a talk about 6,000 years of man's existence coming to an end. And I had to remind her that what he said then, he distinctly said, I'm saying, isn't it interesting, brothers? These are his words now, Freddie France. And this has been pressed into my memory all those years, all that time back. And he said, isn't it interesting, brothers? I'm not saying it is, but isn't it interesting that 6,000 years of man's existence is up? And everybody that was in anticipation of 1975, their ears pricked up. And they thought, yeah, wouldn't it be timely? So his talk that lasted a full hour, because back then you did give a talk for a full hour. And I sat through that as a young lad. And I looked around the congregation and I saw how it impacted people after they'd heard that talk. So it looks like that talk he gave was given into more than one congregation, because he wasn't there in the actual physical person, but his talk was played. 6,000 years of man's existence being up. So I said to my mum earlier, I said, Mum, I'm not being funny, Mum, or argumentative, but that's intimation. That's like saying something without actually saying it. He's inferring something. And don't you think that impressionable people, or those that are looking into maybe having a front row seat in the new system, are going to be looking for every opportunity to support his fact there? Well, it wasn't a fact, was it? It's far from being a fact. It was just complete guesswork. Of course, it never happened, 1975. Not at all. And so 1.1 million left about that time, and I told her this. I said, you don't know this, Mum? You must know this, that 1.1 million Jehovah's Witnesses left straight after that false prediction. He says, and then some came back, but not all came back. Some never came back. So that's why it's so dangerous for anybody who professes that they're in a position of authority and direction. It's not great when they take it upon themselves to steer a full organisation into one thought. I says, don't you think that more and more people that attend should be using their own powers of reason and not just accept everything? Because that's where all these mistakes are made. If you don't challenge something, if you don't reason with it, if it doesn't sit well with your conscience, and it doesn't sit well with you as a researcher, then how can you go along and accept it? Well, you can't, Mum. Says you have to challenge things. So your recollection of 1975 is not as vivid as mine, because I distinctly remember what he said. Isn't it interesting, brothers? I'm not saying it is, but isn't it interesting that 6,000 years of man's existence is coming to an end? Of course, he never actually said in black and white at that point, we'll be in the new system. No, he never laid it down as thick as that. But he did give his personal opinion, and that's all it was. His personal opinion of how he felt about 1975. So there you go. Bit of an insight. I only wish my mother could have seen what I was trying to say to her earlier. I wasn't nitpicking. I wouldn't do that. I'm not going to destroy her religion. She loves it. But I wish she could have seen that I'm trying to reason with her and to say, was it really fair, Mum? for them to make these false predictions and then to sort of backtrack on it later. And of course now they're saying things like, well, it was only a certain few brokers that thought that. And I says, no, it wasn't a certain few, Mum. It was millions that thought it. And there you go. Well, we're still friends. We can talk like this. Doesn't mean we're going to fall out. We're not going to fall out. We're just discussing what we remember of the time. And I certainly remember what my dad said. When it didn't happen, my dad says to my mother, to his wife, Elaine, so it looks like they've moved the goalpost back then. That's my dad's logic, that they moved the goalpost back. They had to do, because they made... See, the Sydney Morning... This is another thing you might not know, people, but the Sydney Morning Herald flashed a big front page article saying Armageddon may be late. Yeah, I wish I'd have kept that article, but I was a young lad. I'm not going to keep papers for all that time ago, am I? But I wonder if you could go into the archives of the Sydney Morning Herald on that particular edition and find that article where it says Armageddon may be late. Because all the news people and everybody were taking it on board what the Jehovah's Witnesses were preparing for. Armageddon. So it wasn't a little thing. It was a huge thing. And that's what I tried to tell her. I'll see you.